Welcome to the Mindful Mama Movement podcast. In today's episode, Shannon and Ashley are going to share with you what the Mindful Mama Movement is, give you some tips on becoming a mindful mama. We'll share a little introduction into who we are, why this movement and podcast are so important, and how you can get involved.
Up is where I wanna go. To be free, to feel free, to be me.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Mindful Mama Movement podcast. I'm Shannon Kinney-Duh, creator of freespiritlife.com.
And I'm Ashley Walburn, owner of Home Holistic, and together we are bringing you the Mindful Mama Movement, a podcast, community, and retreats that empower mamas, encourage authentic living, and celebrate what it means to live an inspired life.
Join us as we bring women together from around the world in all stages of motherhood on a journey of learning how to trust ourselves, how to connect to our intuition, how to let go and forgive, and how to embrace imperfection and the mess of life as we practice mothering from a place of power, presence, creativity, humor, and wisdom. You are welcome here. This is a place to be loved, nurtured, and cared for while you are caring for others. The Mindful Mama Movement, empowered mamas, authentic women, inspired lives. For more information, subscribe to our podcast and join our Mindful Mama Movement community on Facebook. It's facebook.com/groups/Mindful Mama Movement. Hi, Ashley.
Hey, Shannon.
We're doing this. We're recording our first show, figuring all this stuff out.
We're learning a lot this morning.
Yes, we are. So you guys, Ashley and I hatched this idea. It's only really been a couple of months. And we have just kind of, I don't know about you, Ash. Well, I kind of do know. We've been obsessing about it a little bit. I've been dreaming about it. I think she had a dream about she was interviewing me, and I've been interviewing her in my dreams. And I mean, this is something that we've just been so inspired to bring to life. And what I'm learning about working with Ashley, we've known each other for quite a while, and we're still getting to know each other. But what we are learning about connecting in this way and bringing this project to life, we're very ambitious. And when we are faced with something that is a challenge and we have to learn, we just go for it, right, Ashley?
We do.
You know, what'd you say? We learn how to swim.
Jump in and learn how to swim.
Yes, exactly. So we are jumping in, you guys. So thank you for being here and bearing with us as we learn this, because we have big dreams for you and some big fun things planned. So let me go ahead and just share a little bit about who I am. My name is Shannon Kinney-Duh, and I'm the creator of freespiritlife.com. I'm a holistic life coach, a yoga teacher, a writer, an artist, and I'm the mom to 3 young boys. My boys are 8, 5, and 2. And I started a Free Spirit Life several years ago now. I was working at a part-time job. I had just had my first son, and I had to put him into part-time daycare, and it was really hard for me. And it was in that time of my life that I really had to step into my own fears. I had always been consumed by my own self-doubt, and I really let that guide me in my life. And it wasn't until I became a mom that I really had to step into my fear and face it. And one of my fears was I had always wanted to work for myself. I wanted to work from home. I wanted to be with my kids and work around their schedule. And so I started my first online course back then when he was a baby. It's called Inside Out, A Creative Adventure of Self-Discovery. And that course basically wrote itself. It was like a culmination of all of my training up to that point through yoga, through art, through journaling, through connecting with community. It really became this catalyst for my own healing. And then it connected with women from around the world as they were learning how to be more authentic, to cultivate their own inner courage so that they could live a dream aligned with what was important to them. And so it's been a process. It's still a journey, but that's kind of the short version of my background. I'm a recovering perfectionist and a reformed self-doubter, and my greatest passion is to help guide women really ultimately back inside to their own inner wisdom so that they can awaken to their own inner power and strength and live the life that they want to live. And that's what I do online, and that's what I do at home, running around chasing 3 monkey boys most of my life. And Ashley, share a little bit about who you are, what brought you to this moment, and if you want to share also how we met.
Great. I'm Ashley Walburn, and I am the mother of 4 boys, ages 22, 14, 13, 12. And I am a marriage and family therapist and a yoga teacher, focusing on mothers. So a lot of prenatal and postpartum yoga. And I'm also a birth doula and attend a lot of births, about 50 to 60 births every year. And I really came to this place in my life accidentally. And I would say the way that I got here to this moment today with you doing this podcast is these are the things that I've wanted and didn't have in my own life, from really good mentorship and good support in a loving and non-judgmental way. So I feel more like I'm moving through my own life as myself. And that's really what I do in my classes. That's what I do as the birth doula. And that's what I try to help women do through the way that I counsel them, which is really just a lot of support and helping them feel more like their own selves. And I met Shannon on my own journey through yoga, where I kind of refound my own self. And I said to my husband one time, a really long time ago, that if there was no movement in my yoga class, I'd still go there. Because when I leave, I feel more like Ashley. And I don't think I even knew the depths of it yet. I wasn't a yoga teacher yet, but I knew that when I left my yoga class, I felt better. And during that time, I was also having my children. And there was no prenatal yoga, and Shannon and I are in the Kansas City area. There was no prenatal yoga there. And so you would go take your class and you'd leave. And I often was the only pregnant person in class. And I just remember feeling so deeply like, God, I would love to be doing yoga with other women who have a belly in their way and who are having pregnancy discomforts. And I would also love to hear their story, and I would love to hear who their practitioner was, or what do they take when they're having heartburn. And so that really transitioned into becoming a prenatal yoga teacher and a birth doula. Then Shannon and I were reconnected through my prenatal yoga community, that when she was pregnant with her first son, probably about 9 years ago, she came to my class, and I'll let her tell you a little bit more about it. But after class, I remember her kind of grabbing a hold of my arms and saying, and in my mind, you were really pregnant, like 38 weeks pregnant, saying, I cannot birth with this provider. And so we kind of blossomed and strengthened our relationship by being on kind of a mad search to finding a new provider to birth with Shannon.
Yeah, my memory is, and I was very pregnant. Maybe could have been 32 weeks, but I mean, it was to the point where I was really scared. Like, I had a certain midwife and I had been going through that whole process. And then all of a sudden it just didn't feel right, you know? And that again is that journey of like trying to learn to trust my intuition. And so I was guided to your class, and I must have been in like Shavasana, like, you know, supported, because I feel like your face was like over mine, like just looking at me like, oh, like Ashley came to save the day. And I had tears streaming down my face. I was just like so afraid, and I just needed that encouragement, you know, and you guided me exactly to the right midwife that I needed. And yeah, I've been following you ever since. And I know you do that for so many women. I mean, it's a true testament of what you've done here, which has now led you to create your own center. So tell them about Home Holistic.
So Home Holistic really started years before, just kind of with a manifestation of I want a stronger community. I realized that my dreams were different than the dreams of the yoga studios, and I was teaching at doctors' offices. And so I was kind of everywhere teaching yoga, and I knew that it all could be under one roof. And so I really just honestly manifested it. Like, I can't even believe sometimes that it all came together. So now I have a holistic center that we bought a building, renovated it, and we have prenatal yoga there. We have all kinds of postpartum classes and support there. And then we also have practitioners who are amazing. So we have massage therapists that specialize in working with women, acupuncturists, chiropractors, and then more counselors other than just myself are also there. So I feel really excited every day that I get to walk in the doors at Home Holistic.
That's amazing. And we're going to dive more deeply into both of our stories over the next coming shows, because I'm really excited to hear from Ashley about what it's like to balance owning a business like this with family life, with her boys who are older than mine. You know, and that's what I'm excited about for this show too, is that we both bring different life experience, different types of training, similar in a lot of ways.
Right.
We're in different stages of motherhood. And, you know, we don't just see ourselves as these great experts that have all the answers. You know, this is a journey in bringing women together. We are holding that space to help us all heal and grow and become more authentic and empowered in who we are as mothers on our path, raising our children and nurturing ourselves along the way. And it's going to be exciting. I think we have no idea where this is going to go, but I just wanted you to know that we will dive more deeply into our stories in the next coming shows. And we're also going to encourage you all to share your stories, to share your questions. And that's why our community is so important on Facebook. So make sure to check that out. But right now, let's just tell a little bit about why is this called the Mindful Mama Movement, Ashley? What does that mean to you? What is the Mindful Mama Movement?
Well, when Shannon and I first met and we were like, let's do this, we're going to do a podcast. And we really started thinking about why we want to do this. And for Shannon and I both, so that we are already reaching a lot of women through her online community and through my face-to-face in-class community, and that we could continue what we're already doing in a really broad sense, that everybody could have access to this. And so what are we really doing? And we thought about a lot of terms that we do feel like we're empowering women and we're helping women feel more like themselves. And so it really is a movement. I believe every single woman who is a mother or becoming a mother or has grown children and has been a mother for a very long time still wants to be mindful, and they want to be present, and they want to be fully experiencing being a mother. And we also want to inspire other women to feel safe and strong so they can do it also. And so that's kind of the movement part. And if you're mindful, you can be empowered. If you're mindful, you can be vulnerable. That it's just really being your authentic self as often as possible. And sometimes, to me, my authentic self still gets irritable.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. And, you know, I had a flashback of when I had my first son, and, you know, I'm kind of a researcher by nature. And so for the first 6 months of his life, of course, even before that, but really when I had him, it was like I was reading every baby book and trying to figure everything out. And I was going to those breastfeeding support groups at the hospital. And I was just like, I was being swallowed up by this huge life shift that I had no idea was going to be so hard. And, you know, my first child was very much the, what they call colicky baby. I mean, he would nurse every 40 minutes. He would never settle. He barely slept until he was 2. You know, I would rock him and I would, you know, always movement. I mean, everywhere I go, he had to move, and I would rock him and rock him and hold. I just remember holding him saying, I don't know what to do, you know, and I'm just like 3 hours of that movement. And then I remember sitting in a rocking chair trying to like recreate that standing. And as soon as I sat down, he'd wake up and start crying. And I was just like, oh my gosh. And going to some of the places outside, you know, some play groups or whatever, I'd always hear, well, my baby sleeps 12 hours through the night. And it really, like, I look at myself and say, what am I doing wrong? What is wrong with me? And about the 6-month mark is when I talked to a friend of mine. She had 6 kids. They were all older. And I asked her something about sleep, you know, training or something. And she said, that was so foreign to her. She's like, you know, just do what feels right to you.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I closed all the books and I started parenting from a place within myself. And I have made those decisions over and over and over. As you know, you still make them when they're graduating and going out into the world. And we have to have those tools on how to tap back into that place that is there to guide us, that intuitive, instinctual, mothering place. And to me, that's a big part of this movement, is to remind all of us as mothers that you are not alone. You do not have to do this alone. There is nothing wrong with you. And you know, a lot of times out in the world, we're so like inundated with messages on how to do it the right way. And I think when it comes down to it, and why women have thrive in your community and mine, is that we give them permission to be themselves. You use the words non-judgmental and kindness, and it's to say, Mama, you're doing enough. You know, you are doing it well. And rather than strive for perfection or try to do what all the books tell you to do, you know, just sit in this moment.
Yeah.
Breathe in this moment.
I just 100% agree with you. And through the years, literally thousands of women have come and sat in my yoga class. And what I hear over and over and over, and even more so with more social media, that women are told that babies should be doing whatever it is, sleeping, they should be on this eating schedule, you should be starting solids. And I hear moms often, just like when you were pregnant with your first, like, this doesn't feel right to me. And your gut instinct through a little bit of quieting in a yoga class was like, I can't do this. And I hear it all the time. And one thing that I say often is, what if you didn't have any social media? What if you didn't have books? What if you didn't have your mother? What if you were on an island with you and your partner, pregnant? You'd know how to feed your baby. You'd sleep your baby when they were tired. If your baby needed to walk and walk and walk, you'd just do it. And I agree with your friend who had 6 older children that when I was having my children, especially my oldest who's 22, I didn't even have a cell phone. That I just had to figure it out. And there was no kind of Facebook or Google that said this is what a baby should be doing.
Right.
I really did have to listen to what does my baby need right now? And I hear moms being so afraid that I'm doing it wrong, and then they have more anxiety, and then they're worried, and then they're not parenting from their authentic self. And I do believe that is what our children want from us.
Yes.
That they don't want perfection, that they don't want 12 hours of sleep at 6 weeks of life, that they want their mama that they chose.
So good, Ashley. And that to me exemplifies the word mindful when I think about what this is. Because we as mothers, we have that instinct in us. And the more consumed we are by busy and all those messages outside, it's very hard to sift through those and step outside of our head and into our hearts. And I feel like this movement is being embraced because we all feel that, but it's almost sometimes we just need to be given permission to move beyond that fear, or move beyond that belief that this is the way it should be because that's the way they're telling it. And so, yeah, it's about being more mindful. It's about stepping into this moment and parenting from a place of presence, rather than a place mucked up by all those shoulds. And, and so I see our movement as really embracing each mother's individual paths through kindness, through non-judgment. All of us, once you become a mama, you're always a mama. So we want this movement to be for women who are thinking about having a family, who are trying to get pregnant, who are pregnant, all the way through being an empty nester. Because once you're a mama, wherever you are on your path, we all stumble and we all go through challenges and we all have celebrations. And so I want it to be, this community that when you need to be uplifted, we're here to uplift you. When you are uplifted and feeling inspired, then you have the ability to reach out and be a mentor for those who need it. And that's what being a mama and always being a mama really is, about nurturing ourselves and nurturing each other and the world. We're on a journey of learning the importance of self-care, and recognizing that when we take good care of ourselves, that we can parent from that mindful space, that present space, and we ultimately can teach our kids how to be more conscious, how to be more connected. The intention is to really provide inspiration, encouragement, and resources that will help all of us step into our own mothering. And not only that, but also we have other dreams and other things that we want to manifest. And sometimes that gets lost, especially in those early years of motherhood. So we want to inspire women to feed those other dreams and how to take better care of themselves while they're taking care of others. And so it's just going to be a really fun experience and process to see how we can all continue to unfold authentically and inspire everyone to do the same. So with that, we created a PDF that you can hop on our website, it's mindfulmamamovement.com, and you can download the 10 inspiring tips on becoming a mindful mama. And so Ashley and I thought we would just briefly talk about the first 3. Now, these are tips that we really have found, all of these tips we put on there, that help us. And there's going to be a lot more, and we can join, share in the discussion on our Facebook page. The first tip we put there was schedule self-care. And I think that's really important. And I think it's probably the number one thing. Ashley, do you hear this a lot too? Like,
It's the hardest thing to do.
yes, we all, and that's why I put the word schedule, because it's one thing to think about self-care. And, here's what I really want about when we're talking to self-care. To me, I feel very overwhelmed. And I think a lot of people do when we say, you need to schedule self-care, like, oh my God, great. Another thing to put on my to-do list, another thing to feel guilty about that I can't make space for in my life. And I think what I'd like to see is that it's almost like a mindset shift. And because what we all do is, and it's natural to take care of everyone else's needs before our own, but we know that over time we feel depleted and exhausted and irritable and ultimately depressed when you're not, feeding people from a filled up place. And so I just want us to, as we're stepping into a mindful practice, to look at our life and see how we can believe that it's invaluable and vital to our well-being when we make space to take care of ourselves. What do you think, Ash?
I do. I agree. And I think it's just a really hard thing to do because we're busy. Somebody said to me a few years ago, in order for you to keep caring for all these women, you've got to take better care of yourself. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, you think I need to watch more TV? Like, what does that mean? Because my life is busy. And what I notice is if I'm taking a bath or taking a yoga class, that the more often I do it, the easier it is. It's like a reset button. The easier it is to come right back to Ashley without as much effort. And so if you do it and it's scheduled a couple of times a week, I think 2 to 3 times a week, that it is a moment, an hour, a walk, a bath, massage, coffee by yourself.
Yes.
That it's just like a memory. That I think right back to feeling like myself, and then that's who goes home.
I really love that, the idea that it's a reset button, because I can remember, especially in those early years of becoming a mom, where you just get your nursing all day and night and you just kind of get consumed by all those responsibilities that self-care just gets pushed aside. And finally, one day I had my breaking point and I'm like, I am getting out of here. I live in a really nice wooded area and I'm like, I've got to go on walks. Like, that is like, get me out of here. And for a while, like the first few times, I'd get up early before everyone else was awake, and it felt like I was walking through mud. It was just like, oh, like I have to get up early, and my walks were slower. But eventually, and really probably within a week's time, it's exactly what you said. It's like that new healthy habit kicked in, and it was invigorating. And it was not only that, but before, like if it was raining or cold, I wouldn't care. Now it's like, I've got a raincoat, I'm out of here. Like it's my new habit. But I can tell a huge difference in how I mother, even if I miss them for a while. Even the other day, I felt really irritated. Everybody was just on my nerves. Yeah. And the second I got on my walk, and it's usually, if I walk it fast, it's 25 minutes. If I go slow, I might sit by the water 40 minutes. That's all it took for me to I was actually feeling better when I came home. It was that reset you're talking about. So it depends on what stage of motherhood you're in. Give yourself grace and be kind to yourself. But really, I mean, it could be just drinking lemon water, or when you said hot coffee, like I sometimes will just take 5 minutes and tell the kids, I just want to sit here and drink my coffee while it's hot. And that's my self-care for the day. Or I might pick them an iced coffee while they're playing at the park. And that's my little, just treat that makes me feel good and makes me feel recharged and caffeinated, excited, and all those other. So, yes, the first tip of becoming a mindful mama is just look at how you see self care. What I hear a lot is I hear that there's a lot of guilt. Like we feel guilty if we step into a place of taking care of ourselves when the kitchen's full of dishes and the laundry's piled up and the kids need me and my husband needs me and then I'm going to step away or go into the bath. You know, I hear a lot of guilt. And so like just look at your life and just remember through the movement that you need this. And not only that, it's vital to your well-being, but it's a ripple effect. You will feel like you said, Ashley, like you become Ashley. You will feel reset. You'll feel more like yourself, and that's only better for everybody.
Yeah. So do you want me to talk about finding stillness, number 2?
Yes, please.
So our number 2 tip is find stillness. And sitting quietly for a few minutes and really when you are intentionally sitting quietly, it really doesn't take that much time. It's just purposeful stillness. It can have a powerful effect on your mood and energy and giving you the energy that you need to make it through your day. Finding a moment of stillness before the kids get up or in the evening after they've gone to sleep, or sometimes with even a child in your arms, to just breathe. Feel yourself grounding, that a few breaths that are intentional are, again, like a really easy reset button. And it will help you find that inner peace and help you be, more present throughout your day. And I really notice through meditation, and my meditation isn't an hour-long meditation, that sometimes it is right before I go to bed, taking a moment that's purposeful, quiet, to just let go of all that's not serving me and serving my family, let go of the guilt. And I just kind of do it like a sloughing it off and let go of my fears. My early worries were, what if something happens to my kids? What if they need me and I'm not right there? And so that felt always like, I've got to get to be with my kids. I've got to get back to them. And that if I just let go and I trust that everything is in divine order for my family today, all of a sudden I feel like I'm re-embodying myself and I can respond to what's happening with my family, to my kids, to my own life, instead of react.
That's huge. And, I think that's ultimately what brought me to yoga when I learned what that was like to sit in a moment of stillness, because we're so busy that it is another way to reset and to step out of all that head stuff. And when you're quiet, your mind can start to just chill out a little bit. Your heart can kind of be heard. And it depends again on what stage of life you're in. I do the same thing that Ashley does. I try to sit in meditation right before I go to sleep as a way to just let all that stuff go. So that I can sleep more peacefully. And then another tool that I use when I get up in the morning, a lot of times, especially if you have young children, the second you wake up, everybody needs you. And so one practice you can do just to connect to your breath, and before you get out of bed, rather than jump right up, your eyes are closed, you're just you're just in a more relaxed state, more connected to your heart. And you can ask yourself, what do I need in this moment? Or what do I need from my day? And just see what comes up for you. A lot of times it's a word or a phrase that's speaking very clearly to you. It might say, slow down, or, stay focused, or whatever it is for you. Just see what happens when you give yourself a moment of stillness And if you connecting to your breath, just let's say you can't do that, or you don't get into the practice of evening stuff, even while your kids are playing or while you're at work or on your lunch break, you can close your eyes and just connect to your breath and watch it travel in and watch it travel out. And just connecting to your breath. There is nothing more present than your own breath. And so when you give yourself that simple moment of stillness to connect to your breath, it brings you right to the present moment. And it helps you feel more grounded. So going into tip 3, we keeping a journal. Now, Ashley and I were talking a little bit about the different ways we keep journals. Years ago, journaling became like my life force. Like I wrote every day, and it helped me process a lot of stuff. And so that for me became a really amazing daily practice, and it taught me how to see patterns in my life that kept repeating over and over and over again, but I wasn't really seeing it until I saw it in paper. I think journaling is a huge, powerful tool, but I don't think you have to journal every day to get the benefit. I don't journal so much anymore because I blog and I find other ways to communicate and get those feelings out. But there are times when there's something that I just need to process or work through, and I will sit with a journal. Maybe there's something I really want to remember, something that was very powerful that happened, and then I will write it down. But journaling for me it's really has become a process of tapping into my inner creativity and my inner dreams and things that sometimes I forget about. And it just helps me remember what's important. And
yeah, me too.
yeah, so putting it on paper has been very helpful. How about you? Share a little bit about journaling.
I don't journal every day. I used to try to make myself journal every day, and that really felt overwhelming to me and also kind of just not authentic to me. That's not what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And but when I travel, I always journal, or if I'm working through something, if I've got something going on in a relationship, or I'm experiencing a loss, then or a growth, that I'm doing a training, then I always journal during those times. And also during those times when I'm journaling, I generally learned so much more about myself. I manifest in my journaling almost always without an intention to. That I'll be writing like, I need to let go of this, or this is something that's been coming up for me and it's affecting my life. I have been noticing that I've been more irritable, and then something completely different comes up, like another time that I'd been irritable, and I realize, oh, I haven't let go of that, or oh, that is the next step on my journey. And so I've just loved it, and I keep all of my journals, and I try to label them.
Mm-hmm.
So I can go back and be re-inspired by or remember a time when I didn't feel so much like myself. And I love it. I love it. I remember almost every word I've ever written.
Oh, that's so great. I have done the same. I have stacks of journals that I have saved. And there was a time where I was going through a lot of clearing clutter. And there was this moment of, should I get rid of my journals? And I'm so glad that I didn't for that reason. I don't go back often, but sometimes I will just, and it takes you right back to that time in your life. And it's also a great way to celebrate the growth that you've made over time,
Yes.
And I agree. It has always been a clarity tool for me when I'm feeling confused or lost, or sometimes you do just feel alone. I feel like your journal is a friend that you can just
sure.
is always there for you, and you can be honest and be real with. And so for those of you who have a hard time speaking up or speaking your truth, or going through a conflict that you need some inner power or strength, connected, to that, I find that journaling is so powerful in those moments when you can just let that stuff out in a very honest way that maybe you're not ready to say yet, or that you're not ready to express in some way, or maybe you don't need to. A lot of times it is just about your own personal process, and it does bring a sense of clarity and so I also think something that's cool about journaling, I see how it connects to our other two steps. Taking a moment of stillness to write in a journal, it gives you that stillness. You're still kind of tricking your mind that you're doing something, your pen is moving. But if you can tap into your heart with kindness, you can speak from a non-judgmental way. And it's also a self-care tool because it is kind of resetting yourself and, helping you connect to whatever it is you need to do next and setting those intentions for your life.
Yes, it's a meditation in itself, that it's a letting go and a clearing out, so you can have more space.
Absolutely. So if you want to see our other 7 tips, just visit our website, mindfulmamamovement.com, and you can download the 10 inspiring tips on becoming a mindful mama. So Ashley, I think we're coming to the end of our first show.
I can't believe it. I'm so excited. It's been.
It's very fun. It's been so fun, and I'm just really happy that we're doing this. We're doing this, and we're doing it with you all. As we end our shows, we're going to always end with a mindful mama moment. And what that is for us is we want this to be actionable for you. We want you to feel really uplifted and inspired after you listen to our shows, and that you have an actionable tip that you can take with you. And so your mindful mama moment today is to think about what we talked about with those tips on becoming a mindful mama, whether it's scheduling self-care, finding some stillness, or writing in a journal. Find what resonates with you this week and see if you can do that a little bit each day in your life. And join our Facebook group and share in the discussion. We'll have a discussion going on how we are instilling self-care or stillness or a journal practice in our own lives. And also let us know, what does it mean to be a mindful mama? What does that mean to you? You can share with us on our Facebook group or send us a personal email, and visit mindfulmamamovement.com for the show notes. We'll share links there, the download. And if you could, please take a moment to stop by iTunes and leave us a review. This is going to help us grow our community so that we can continue inspiring more and more women from around the world. So that would be so helpful for us. And anything else, Ashley, as we wrap up?
We just would like to share that we're so grateful and for every single one of you that are here. And we believe in the power of community, inspiration, and support. We also know that humor goes a long way. Staying light, embracing the mess, and doing things imperfectly are the way to experiencing more peace, presence, and joy in our lives. Now more than ever is the time to throw out the rules, embrace who you are, and let your imperfect, beautiful mothering light shine. Let's together be real. Let's be here now. Let's connect deeply, and let's do it together. Thank you for supporting the Mindful Mama movement. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being you. Keep in touch, and see you next time.
Your heart and your soul.